Hi, this is Caroline Meeks, and this is a brief video on response to intervention, specifically for engineers and computer programmers. Response to intervention is a popular new thing in education, and if you're an engineer, it's really quite easy to understand. The first thing you do is measure. But wait, isn't testing bad? There's a difference between what's used in response to intervention and the, quote, high-stakes tests. When they give high-stakes tests, they take a couple of days of school time. They're given once a year. The results may not come back for months. Often the kids are in another class. And it's very hard to do anything diagnostic with it. I mean, imagine if you're an engineer and you were trying to monitor a process with one test a year and you don't get the results till 3 months later. Instead, with response to intervention, the tests take about 5 minutes. This is a site that sells handhelds and software for the testing, and this is a picture of a teacher testing a student. And typically, all the students are tested 3 times a year. Then on the basis of these screening tests, which are done 1 to 3 times a year, students are divided into 3 groups. Most of them, maybe 80%, are Tier 1. So that's your regular class. They're getting the regular curriculum, and they're learning fine with it. The students who are not learning fine are put into Tier 2. And when they're in Tier 2, they're given an intervention. So these interventions can be quite specific. Like, let's say the test says that the student is behind on phonics, on identifying the first letter of the word. In many of the proprietary programs, actually will link it directly back to some supplementary material in the basal curriculum. And so there'll be 6 to 10 weeks of a planned intervention. And that could be 30 minutes of small group time working on very specific things that these short diagnostic tests said were a problem. During the intervention, the student may be retested every week, every 2 weeks, and then after a certain amount of time they say, did the intervention work? So in this case, intervention 1 didn't work for the student, so they tried something different. They called intervention 2, and that intervention worked. This Tier 3, it would be if you tried a couple of different or 3 different 10-week interventions and you're still not seeing the progress you need to see, then you'd go to Tier 3. And that might be more one-on-one intervention, it might be more extra time, that might be a referral to special education. But themselves can get pretty complicated. It can be pretty sophisticated in terms of how it's actually implemented. But the concept from an engineering point of view is pretty straightforward. Short tests that don't take a lot of instructional time, done frequently. Identify the students that need more intensive intervention and try different things so you can see what works.